I'm Travis Williams, and I accept the challenge of 50 Cent to read a full page of a Harry Potter book. I tried to put this off as long as I could, but just I don't want to be a party pooper. Okay, so I'll just take my punishment like everybody else has. So. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 1, Page 1, The Boy Who Lived. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, number 4, Privet Drive. Proud to say they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved with anything strange or mysterious because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings. It sounds gross. Which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with a hearty any neck. That also sounds gross. Although he did have a very large mustache, not quite as gross. Mrs. Dursley was thin and blonde and had twice as much the amount of usual neck, still gross, which came in very usefully when she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences spying on the neighbors. The Dursleys had a small son called Dunley, and in their opinion, there was no finer boy anywhere. I can't do this. Okay, I'm back. The Dursleys had everything they wanted, but they also had a secret, and their greatest fear was someone would discover it. They didn't think they could bear it if anyone found out about the Potters. Mrs. Potter was Mrs. Dursley's sister, but they had met for several years. In fact, Mrs. Dursley pretended she didn't have a sister because her sister was had a good-for-nothing, and a good-for-nothing husband, whereas Dursley-ish, that's not a word, as anyone as possible to be. The Dursleys shuddered to think what the neighbors would say if the Potters arrived on their street. The Dursleys knew that the Potters had one small son, but they had never seen him. Obviously, he's invisible. That's the magic behind the book. Spoiler alert. Sorry, that was a little late. This boy was another very good reason for keeping the Potters away. They didn't want Dudley mixing with such a child. He's an invisible child. You don't want your kids hanging out with them. They'll get hit by cars or something. When Mr. and Mrs. Dursley woke up on that dull gray Tuesday, our story starts. There was nothing about the cloudy sky outside to suggest that strange and mysterious things would soon be happening all over the country. Mrs. Dursley hummed. Mr. Dursley hummed as he picked out his most boring tie, in fact, for the work, and Mrs. Dursley gossiped happily, as she wrestled a screaming Dudley into his high chair. None of them noticed a large, tawny owl flutter past the window. It's possible the boy could also be an owl at this point. I don't know. I've never read further in the book. At 8:30, Mr. Dursley picked up the briefcase, pecked Mrs. Dursley on the cheek, and tried to kiss Dudley goodbye, but missed. Page. Challenge complete. Challenge complete. At this time, I will not be nominating anyone else for this challenge. I can't think of anything more cruel to do to a human being than what I just went through, and I'm not a mean person. I will also, later this evening, in good form, be making a donation to the Christiansburg area Sweet Frog. And in fact, they've actually agreed already to go ahead and pay it forward, and they will immediately pay it forward back with a donation to me, something that will likely be peanut butter flavored. So, there you have it. Here's the challenge. Have a good night.